At exactly 4:07 a.m., Nurse Olivia Dawson's phone lit up with a name she never thought she'd see again. Grayson Vale, billionaire, CEO of Valetech, a man she hadn't spoken to in 5 years. Emergency at the private wing, the message read. Only you. Come alone. Still in scrubs from her overnight shift, Olivia grabbed her keys, heart pounding. She had no idea. By sunrise, her entire life would be turned inside out, and the man who once walked away would kneel before her in front of the world. Let's begin? The echo of her sneakers hitting the marble floors of Westbrook Private Hospital at 4:36 a.m. was the only sound Olivia heard. Most of the lights were dimmed. The air smelled of antiseptic and secrets. Miss Dawson, a sharply dressed man in black, appeared by the executive elevators, face unreadable. He wasn't hospital staff. "I'm here for Mr. Vale," she said, swallowing. The man gave a slight nod and motioned for her to follow. "No one else is allowed up." As the elevator climbed, Olivia's pulse thundered. She hadn't seen Grayson Vale since the day he left her standing outside that courthouse, humiliated, broke, alone. Back then, she was just a nursing student working 2 jobs and caring for her sick mother. He was already on magazine covers. Their worlds were galaxies apart. But why now? Why this hour? The elevator dinged. Private wing. Top floor. She stepped. Out. Silence. Then, "Liv." That voice, smooth, deep, familiar. Her breath caught. Grayson stood barefoot in tailored trousers and a half-buttoned white shirt, sleeves rolled up, blood on his hands. Literal blood. Her instincts kicked in. "Are you hurt?" "No," he said quickly, eyes locking with hers. "But he is." He turned and led her down the hall. Inside the luxurious suite was an older man, mid-60s, collapsed on the floor, face pale. Olivia rushed over, his pulses weak. "Get me gauze, oxygen, now!" Grayson obeyed. No argument, no ego, just urgency. Minutes felt like hours. But Olivia worked, like her hands were guided by something divine. When the man stabilized and was taken by private stretcher to emergency care, Olivia finally stood still, and that's when Grayson broke. He sat on the edge of a leather bench, rubbing his face. "That's my father, my only family. They wouldn't let just anyone touch him. I had to call you. You're the only one I trust." She stared at him. "After 5 years of silence?" He looked up, eyes glassy. "I made the biggest mistake of my life walking away from you, and tonight it reminded me what I lost." The room spun. Her throat tightened. He stood and stepped closer. "I'm not asking for forgiveness, but let me explain. Let me show you." But Olivia was shaking now. She picked up her bag, heart cracking in pieces. "I didn't come here to reopen wounds. I came because you asked for help." She turned, then paused. His voice broke behind her. "Please, don't leave, not yet." Olivia froze mid-step. That voice, cracked, raw, pleading, was something she never expected from the billionaire who once vanished like she never existed. She turned slowly. Grayson was standing there, barefoot on the cold marble, eyes rimmed red, fists clenched like he was holding back something deeper than pride. "You think I wanted to walk away?" he said softly, stepping toward her. "I was trying to protect you." Olivia let out a breathless laugh. "You ghosted me 2 weeks before my mother died, Grayson. Don't rewrite it now to sound noble." He flinched. "I know. And every night since, I've wished I could go back." She shook her head. "People don't vanish on the people they love, not when it matters." He swallowed hard. "My father gave me a choice. Walk away from you or lose everything. Company, power, my seat on the board." Her voice sharpened. "So you chose money." "I chose survival. I chose my mother's legacy. I thought I'd make it all back and come for you when it was safe. But then your number changed. You disappeared." She crossed her arms, fury warring with heartbreak. "You had billions. I had hospital bills. You left me to fight alone." His voice broke. I didn't know she passed. Olivia, I swear, I didn't know. Silence flooded the room like a wave. Then a phone buzzed. Grayson ignored it. Olivia stared at him, a storm behind her eyes. Why now? Why tonight? What do you want from me? He hesitated. Everything. Her brows lifted. I've spent 5 years building walls, pretending I didn't miss you every damn day. Tonight I watched the only parent I have nearly die, and the only person I could think of to save him was you. Not because you're the best nurse in the state, but because I trust you, because some part of me still loves you. Her heart thudded painfully in her chest. You don't get to say that like we're picking up where we left off. I don't expect anything, he whispered, but I'm asking for a second chance, not at love, just to be there, in your world, even if it's just as a stranger watching from the sidelines. She blinked back tears, but her voice stayed strong. Grayson, my world doesn't need billionaires. It needs people who don't walk away. He took a breath. Then let me stay this time. Let me show you who I've become. The door opened. A young nurse peeked in. Miss Dawson, they're asking for you in ER. The patient's condition changed. Olivia gave one last look to Grayson, then turned to the nurse. I'm coming. But before she stepped out, she said without turning back, You want to show me who you are now? Then don't do it with words, Grayson. Do it with actions. And with that, she was gone. He stood there alone, staring at the blood still on his palms, as if the stains ran far deeper than he could ever clean. The hospital felt different that morning. As dawn cracked through the towering glass windows of Westbrook's East Wing, Olivia moved like a storm, focused, unreadable, untouchable. No one dared question why she looked more exhausted than usual, or why she disappeared for an hour from the ER rotation after stabilizing a private patient. Grayson's father, Arthur Vale, had been moved to intensive care. The whispers about the secret overnight call, the private elevator, the billionaire CEO showing up barefoot at 4 a.m., they all circulated, but Olivia didn't flinch. She had a job to do, but inside her chest, her heart was bruised. 5 years. 5 years she spent rebuilding after he left. Grayson had vanished without a trace, taking not just her heart, but her belief in trust, in timing, in people. Now here, he was again, not asking for forgiveness, but asking for something worse. Hope. That night, when her shift ended, Olivia didn't go straight home. She found herself walking the long, quiet corridor back to the private wing, and as she turned the corner, he was there, sitting alone outside his father's room, suit jacket over his knees, coffee untouched beside him. His head lifted the moment he sensed her. I thought you wouldn't come, he said, voice low. I shouldn't have, she answered honestly, but I need answers. Grayson nodded. You deserve them. They walked to the rooftop. Quiet, windy, the city waking up beneath them. He leaned against the ledge, looking like a man who'd aged 10 years in a single night. After I left, I tried to move on. I drowned myself in work, women, deals, but nothing filled it. Not the noise, not the headlines. And then I heard about your mom, months too late. I searched for you, Olivia. Her jaw tightened. You didn't try hard enough. I know, he whispered. That's on me. She crossed her arms, fighting the storm in her chest. Why bring this back up? Why now? Is this guilt? No, it's fear, he said. Fear of losing the only person who ever saw me. Not the money, not the name, just me. And if I don't say this now, I'll never get another chance. He turned to face her fully. I loved you then. I never stopped. But I was a coward. I let my father control me. I let status bury my backbone. But tonight, when I thought he might die, and I had no one to call, just your name, it made me realize something. He stepped closer. You were never the poor one, Olivia. I was, poor in courage, poor in character, poor in soul. Her lips trembled. You think saying that fixes it? No, he said gently, but it's a start. She stared at him, caught in the quiet thunder of those words. For the first time, he looked real, stripped of ego, of shields. What do you want from me? She asked finally. Grayson didn't hesitate. Let me earn a place in your world again, not as your lover, not as your savior, just as a man who knows better now. Let me show up where I didn't before. She turned her face to the horizon. The sky was breaking into morning gold. You want to show up? She asked. Then prove it. He nodded. Where do I start? She looked at him. Start by being there for your father. Start by facing the man who made you choose. And then softly, and start by not running. This time, Grayson didn't run. For the next week, he barely left his father's side. Every day, Olivia would see him sitting quietly beside the ICU bed, not taking calls, not issuing orders, not hiding behind assistants. Just there, silent, watching, waiting, and on the fifth night, she saw something she never expected. Grayson Vale, billionaire tech mogul, playboy CEO, man who once lived in constant control, was gently wiping soup from the corners of his now awake father's mouth. No cameras, no audience, just a son trying to make up for time. Later that night, as Olivia was updating the nurse charts, she heard footsteps behind her. She didn't have to turn around to know it was him. You okay? She asked without looking up. Grayson hesitated. I had a conversation with my father today. Olivia raised an eyebrow. Let me guess, he still thinks I was a threat to the brand? Grayson chuckled bitterly. Something like that. But I told him no more. That he doesn't get to make those decisions anymore. That I'm done building an empire that keeps me lonely at the top. She finally turned, eyes soft. How did he take it? Grayson sighed. He said he'd never accept you. Then he told me I'd regret this. A path. Olivia's chest tightened. And I told him I already regret what I did to you more. Her eyes widened slightly. He stepped forward, slower this time, measured, respectful. Liv, I didn't just come back to right a wrong. I came because I finally see what matters. She tilted her head. And what's that? You, he said simply. The version of me that existed with you. The real me, the one who wasn't afraid to laugh at 3 a.m. or fail without shame. I haven't been him since I left. Olivia's voice lowered. You don't get to drop a speech and expect a fairy tale. I'm not asking for one, he replied. But I am asking for a beginning, whatever that looks like. Even if it's just lunch. She paused. Then, lunch sounds not terrible. Grayson's lips curved. Progress. But before she could respond, an urgent call came through her pager. A child coding in ER. Olivia sprang into motion, her nurse instincts, overtaking emotion. As she darted toward the stairs, she called over her shoulder, still not impressed by suits. If you want to show me you've changed, bring coffee to pediatrics tomorrow at 7 sharp. No excuses. Grayson watched her disappear around the corner, a grin tugging at his lips. Challenge accepted. The next morning, Olivia opened the break room. Fridge to find 2 premium black coffees with her name scribbled in marker, and a sticky note for the woman who saves strangers every day, even when her own heart is bruised. G. She stared at the note for a long second before slipping it into her pocket, and for the first time in years, Olivia Dawson smiled and didn't feel like she was faking it. 3 weeks later, Westbrook Hospital was buzzing with its usual organized chaos, but behind the scenes, something had shifted. People whispered about the billionaire who now appeared regularly in the pediatrics wing, not in suits, but in jeans and rolled sleeves, holding coffee cups and children's books, and always near one nurse, Olivia Dawson. She didn't. Let him in easily. There were moments she tested him, moments she walked away mid-sentence to treat a patient, moments where she said nothing when he showed up with hopeful eyes, but he kept showing up. No cameras, no entourage, just Grayson. One morning, while Olivia was gently bandaging a little girl's arm, she felt a familiar presence beside her. Grayson crouched, handing the girl a sticker and a pink band-aid. The child giggled. After she ran off, Olivia glanced at him. "Didn't think you'd show up this early." "I haven't slept," he admitted. "I was up all night in a board meeting. I resigned." Her hands froze. "You what?" He straightened. "I stepped down as CEO of Vailtech, effective immediately." "Are you insane?" she whispered, stunned. Grayson looked her in the eyes. "Maybe. Or maybe I'm finally sane for the first time in my life." She stepped back, heart racing. "Grayson, you built that company from nothing." "No," he said. "I built it from fear, from greed, from wanting to prove something, but you—" His voice softened. "You reminded me of something I forgot. That saving people doesn't happen in skyscrapers. It happens in moments like this." He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small white envelope. She looked at it, hesitant. "What is that?" "Just open it." Inside was a deed. She read it. Her knees buckled. Dawson Family Healing Center, a fully funded, independent non-profit clinic built in her late mother's name. Tears welled. You bought the land." "I didn't just buy it, I'm funding it. Permanently. Staff, equipment, everything. It'll be run by people like you, people who care." She stared at him, speechless. "And I want nothing from it," he said, stepping back. "No press, no credit, no plaque. This isn't for redemption. It's just kindness. The kind you showed me when I didn't deserve it." Her lip trembled. "You didn't have to do this." "I know," he whispered. "That's why it matters." She blinked fast, swallowing hard. "I don't know what to say." He smiled. "Say you'll take one step forward, with me, as equals. No titles, no past. Just what we are now." Silence stretched between them like an electric current. And then she took his hand, not out of pity, not out of memory, but because somewhere, between the heartbreak and the healing, he'd done something few ever managed to do. He'd earned his way back. 6 months later, the ribbon-cutting ceremony of the Dawson Family Healing Center was attended by over 200 families. Olivia gave the opening speech, but it was a little boy in a wheelchair who cut the ribbon. Grayson stood in the back, no spotlight, watching her with quiet pride. Someone tapped his shoulder. "Sir, aren't you going to go up there?" He shook, his head with a smile. "No, today's not about me." But as Olivia glanced his way from the podium, eyes shining, he knew that even without a spotlight, he had everything he'd ever wanted, and he hadn't bought it. He became it.